identification receipt.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, we want to come to you and open this meeting up, thanking you, first of all, for all your blessings of life. Lord, you have been good to the citizens of Fannin County, Lord, in face of turmoil and trouble, Lord, all around us, but you have been good to us, and we just thank you for our blessings. Lord, we just ask also that you would, I know you recognize that we have scars from COVID and other things, Lord, and we need your healing touch. Scars, physical scars, we have emotional scars, Lord, and we just ask you just help us to be in the right way, to trust you in all things, Lord. And Lord, especially be with this meeting tonight, Lord. We want to put you in the center of it. We want to do your will. We ask for your wisdom for our commissioners, and help us just to be pleasing all in your sight. Thank you for all these things, and we ask these things in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2, under unfinished business, we approve the minutes of the January 6, 2021 regular board meeting via teleconference. Commissioner Johnson, do you have any errors or omissions?
Nope. No objections.
Commissioner Patterson?
No, I have no objections to that.
Okay. I didn't notice anything either, so
Good.
we'll ask for a motion that we approve the minutes from the January 26th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second the motion. All in favor? Okay. Minutes are approved. Number 3 in the new business is an intergovernmental agreement for the Board of Education in Fannin County. This, I believe, refers to our summer camp program they would have with the Board of Education. And I believe this, I'm not sure exactly how long this has been going on, but I think it's been going on for a while. It's a great program for our kids. And just to be right honest with you, it's good to be part of it, you know, to be able to team up with the Board of Education to make this happen. So we have the agreement here to be signed. Once again, I'll ask for a motion that we approve the agreement, to sign the agreement to approve it. I'll ask for that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the Board of Education.
I'll second the motion. All in favor? Any opposed?
Okay, just one.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4, Sherry Morris with a Family Connection. You'd like to come up? Just a little bit about what we got going on.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I'm Sherry Morris, Executive Director of Fannin County Family Connection. Thank you for allowing some time on the agenda this evening to discuss Family Connection concerns. Most everyone knows Family Connection as the location of the food pantry for the county, but we do host a lot of other activities, such as we teach the Darkness to Light program, in which adults learn how to recognize the signs of sexual abuse and molestation in our youth and how to help our youth who are victimized. We host quarterly blood drives for blood assurance, and we host quarterly free mammogram services for Memorial Hospital in Chattanooga. We also serve as a valuable source of knowledge of resources for those who are less fortunate in our county, and daily we help families find needed resources. We have a clothing closet and collect blankets and linens. If a family has a fire, we help with all sorts of resources to get the family back on their feet. We offer free firewood during the cool months, and we give away mini coats during the winter season. We also offer homeless day services, whereby those who are homeless in our county can cook themselves a hot meal, take a shower, wash their clothes, and use our phone and internet services. When we can meet again in person, we are adding free mini health fairs for our clients, and we will conduct our second poverty simulation, which helps others understand the challenges of living in need day in and day out. And then, of course, we offer the food pantry, which serves people who earn an income that is 130% of the federal poverty level or below. On average, 1 in 6 Fannin County residents utilizes the resources of the food pantry, and that's actually going up because of COVID. In 2020, Family Connection served 19,435 people, and that number is a 14% increase over 2019. When COVID hit in March, our numbers increased 40% for the month. They increased overnight, by the way. And the following months of April and May, we experienced almost a 30% increase in each of those months, ending the year for an overall 14% increase. Our busiest day in history came in October, when CARES food boxes were handed out along with the regular food pantry boxes. For the week, we distributed enough food to make the equivalent of just over 35,000 meals. And yes, we did that in 1 week. We're grateful to our community and to the commissioners for your support during the very difficult 2020 season. Our ask tonight is for the Fannin County Board of Commissioners to serve once again as our fiscal agent to receive the funds from our state organization, Georgia Family Connection Partnership. The Board of Commissioners have graciously served as our fiscal agent for many years, and it is now time to ask for the 21-22 financial year. Also, the board provides some funding each year for the operation of Family Connection. We're very grateful for the help from the commission budget, and we always put those dollars to good use in serving the citizens of Fannin County. And I thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration of our request.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson? Okay.
I just thank you for what you do for the
Thank you.
community. A lot of times it's unsung job, but you are able to help a lot of those in need throughout our community, more than most people know. So I just want to thank you for what you do.
Thank you. It's an honor to serve.
Thank you, Sherry. We appreciate you, all you do. You've been there a while, and you've seen a lot of things, but it has been a tough year.
It's been a very tough year.
We really appreciate you.
Thanks.
And I'd just like to echo what they've said. You do an amazing job, and there's a lot of families who have benefited for everything that you and your folks do. And a lot of times it does go unnoticed, but if people would just take the time to come by and see exactly what you do, there would be a whole new appreciation for that.
And we welcome any visitors at any time. I mean, we're happy to do that. You'll see a pretty busy place most days.
Oh, yeah, I guarantee it. All right, thank you very much.
And I have the forms here if you guys do agree to do that. So, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So, I guess we'll make a motion to be the fiscal agent designation, accept an agreement to sign this once again. I'll ask for the motion.
I'll make a motion to do so.
I'll second the motion. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. And Sherry, I just sign above.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thanks again, Sherry, we really appreciate that. Number 5, Robert Graham, our Fannin County UMA Director, got some updates with the COVID-19 and possibly agreements that we've signed since then. If you'd like to come up and tell us some numbers. Catch everybody up since we last spoke.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
It looks like overall the positive cases of COVID are starting to trend downward a little bit again, which is a really good thing. Over the last 14 days, the number of positive tests for Fannin County has been right at 11%. But we got to remember the health department is no longer doing testing. So we don't know how accurate those numbers are right now because they just stopped a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So there may not be as much testing going on. They're transitioned over to providing vaccines now, and overall, though, Fannin County is still considered a high transmission county in the state of Georgia. So to talk about the health department transitioning a little bit, we entered into agreement with the Kiwanis Club to use their fairgrounds. Basically, we signed a sort of a lease agreement, I guess it would be called. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Dawson? So that we could provide insurance on the building for providing the vaccines there. And they're providing vaccines 5 days a week there as a normal rule. However, I spoke with the nurse at the health department today, and right now they're out of vaccine, or they're running out. So they're not taking reservations or appointments right at the moment, waiting on some more to come in. The confirmed number of cumulative cases in Fannin County as of today, this afternoon when I looked online, was 1,862. Now that's since this whole thing started back last February, March. There's been 133 cases reported in the last 14 days in Fannin County. There's also now, I'm sure y'all are aware, a variant of the virus that's emerged in Georgia. I think the closest one to us, the last I heard, was Cherokee County. But I wouldn't be surprised if it moves up quickly and we start seeing some of those in the county. They don't know a whole lot about if there's any much difference in the variant of the virus. They do seem to think it spreads a little easier, but it may not be any more severe than the one we're dealing with now. Hospital ER visits are trending down slightly and are reported by the state of Georgia at 15% for total visits as of yesterday for Fannin Regional Hospital. Accounts for 15% of their visits. Fannin, as y'all are aware, I guess, Fannin Fire EMS applied for and was approved as a vaccine provider for the state of Georgia. And as of today, we've administered 522 doses of the vaccine, and we have 600 more doses ordered. But about half of those are already earmarked for second doses for some of these people who've already vaccinated. Whether we get it or not, I don't know, or how long it'll be before we get it, but hopefully we'll get some of it coming in next week. We currently have an excess of over 270 people requesting vaccine from us if and when we receive it. We've got a list we've started with phone numbers and names, and we get calls daily with more people wanting to get on the list. These are 65 and older. Right now we're supposed to only vaccinate 65 and older, caregivers for that age group, law enforcement, public safety, those types of things. So we're waiting on to open up. We have agreed with the school system to do their vaccinating at their schools for them when that opens up. So
Is that the next step down?
Yes.
The school
Yeah.
systems
Next thing they open up will be the school employees and staff, and I believe they include high-risk people under 65 in that group, and essential workers. And I'm not positive about the high-risk under 65, but like utility companies, Tri-State Electric, we've told them that we would provide vaccine for them as well when that time comes and stuff. So kind of trying to help take a little bit of the load off the health department up there. They're seeing a lot of people over there, but they're having a hard time getting the vaccine as well. I just found out today that the state of Georgia is opening up some mass vaccination. Actually, we found out yesterday. Patrick actually traveled yesterday to help set up some of the equipment for some of them with GEMA, but they're setting up some mass vaccination sites around the state. However, there's not really one real close to us at this time. So, let's see. Also, I'm kind of happy to report that Fannin Fire, EMS, and 911 have no one out with COVID right now. We have all our employees healthy in that respect. We've got 2 or 3 out of different things, but we're transporting COVID positive patients on a daily basis now. So I really think that's a testimony to how well our employees are protecting themselves with the gear we've given them, the masks and things. Even though a lot of people are getting vaccinated, they're starting to, masks and social distancing is still recommended to prevent the spread of this virus. I also reached out to the hospital administrator today to see if there was anything he could give me on what their stats is up there. Can't talk tonight, I'm sorry. They're running between 80 to 100% of ICU capacity and experiencing long lengths of stay. Their medical surgical wing, which is basically what they call the floor where most all the other patients are, is running in excess of 70% capacity. And in the last 24 hours, they've seen some increase in bed availability, which means they're starting to, get some extra space. Overall, their COVID-19 positive or pending census for in-hospital patients has ranged between 30% and 80% on any given day. And as I said, they're just repeating, the county numbers seem to be trending downward. So they hope to see a similar trend for COVID-related inpatients at the hospital. They've also given 404 vaccines today, and they had some extra vaccine that they transferred to the health department to help them with their efforts. That's about all I've got. Do y'all have any questions? I may or may not be able to answer.
Commissioner Johnson?
Well, what about that variant? You said, does the vaccine cover that? What we take, what's been taken?
We are told that it is effective against the variant as well. Yeah,
okay.
The vaccine. A lot of people ask it. Well, if I'm taking this vaccine, there's a variant, then I'm not really going to be protected again. But we have been told that it does provide quite a bit of protection against the variant too. So,
Down in Cherokee County, you said the nearest.
the closest case that I've heard so far was Cherokee County. Last I heard, there were 19 cases that they'd identified, but you got to remember, a lot of these people are not being tested for this variant. I think you have to test for it. So who knows how much is in the state already.
Robert, you mentioned about the beds at the hospital. Between 30 and 80%, you said that's a wide range. Is there a reason for that? I mean, is the stage being short? Is that why? Or do you have any idea?
That's how many people how full they are. They're between 30 and 80% full. And it just varies day to day depending on, if they have several patients released and they don't admit any until the next day or something. It just,
But that was for COVID, right? They were
no,
talking.
this is their,
overall.
this is-
Overall.
I'm sorry, I've confused you a bit. The COVID-19 positive pending census ranged between 30 to 80% of their total patient census.
Okay.
So it's anywhere from 30 to 80% of the people in the hospital are COVID related. I'm sorry, I may have read that wrong a minute ago. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I want to thank you again for bringing those numbers. We go back a year, and when we think of everything that's been through in a year's time, a lot of unknowns to begin with. Well, there's still a lot of unknowns. But one thing I'm thankful for, within the last month, we had a spike here in courthouse and around about. It was just, we lost people that we knew, and as a result of that, and we've been tickled to death to hear that the numbers are starting to subside a little bit. Definitely want to thank the Kiwanis Club for working with us, and that's, again, I think it's a testament to our community that we were able to reach out to someone like that, and they were more than gracious to help us out. We needed a large facility like that, and we looked at other places. I know you did, but that just seemed to be a good fit, easy in, easy out, access. So we're definitely thankful to everybody who made that happen, and we appreciate the hard work. Sure. So thank you.
Thank you. Also, Commissioners, if I may, I'd like to echo your thanks and appreciation to the Family Connection and Sherry Morris. During this last year, she's been a great benefit to this county. We've had a lot of people who've called talking about food and wondering whether they can get stuff. And we've referred several to her, and I know she's taking care of quite a few people for Fannin County this last year. She deserves kudos for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
So number 6, discussion on the White Coat building. Commissioner Johnson, anything on
I'm just a tiebreaker on that.
Commissioner Patterson?
I wanted, the last 2 weeks ago when we discussed this, we had 2 issues that came about. One of them, Commissioner Johnson brought up, which was very relevant, was the White Path building and the admin and the library. Would both of them be able to be in that property due to the admin only having SPLOST? Ms. Doss, our county attorney, said you check into that. Can you update us on that, Ms. Doss?
Yes, sir. I checked with the firm of Gray and Pinnell out of Savannah, Georgia, and they are bond counsel. They served as bond counsel for Fannin County for the last 2 SPLOST rotations. So I reached out to senior attorney Jim Pinnell, and Jim said that it is not uncommon for a library to be in an administrative building, and that he was aware of several libraries that were, 2 libraries that were being built right now. One of them is going into a recreation facility. One of them is going into a strip mall. He said, especially given the history of our library, whereas it was in a standalone building that ceased to exist because the courthouse came into existence. And it had been housed in the courthouse since day 1. That to move it to wherever we moved administrative functions was a perfectly acceptable move.
So regardless of the splosh being, primarily.
If the phrase administrative building is apparently a very wide.
Broad definition.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions, Commissioner Johnson?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
110% disagree with that, so. When I worked on getting that path through SPLOST, that money was allocated for an administration building to move some of our services into a place to where the citizens can get to them more easier without going through security and all the things they're going through right now to come either buy a tag, pay their taxes, see, get a building permit, see the commission office, and by opening up saying we can do that through administration, I'm afraid that you're about to get lambasted by the library board, and every bit of that money will get spent on the library. I don't think a dollar of it should go towards the library when it was allocated for an administration building.
I agree with that. I agree with that totally.
I think if the library goes in the building, there can be some sort of reimbursement made, or some sort, I mean, I'm not saying I disagree with you, Ms.
No,
Dawson. I'm
no,
not saying I disagree with you.
I-
I'm just disagreement, and as, hopefully by the next meeting, if I'm a regular citizen, I'll still disagree that any of that money will ever be used for a library. You know, if the plan can come together for the library and, you know, the funds be appropriated to maybe reimburse SPOS and purchase, say, a wing of the building or an acre of the property or however, then I would never have a objection to that. But the problem is if it's labeled administration / library, because there was a big controversy then, why didn't the library get put on the SPOS? And there was a huge there was a huge reason. Robert, whatever you're catching.
Caught it from me,
My
didn't
tongue
you?
doesn't get tied up too much, you agree. Whatever reason, I mean, at the time, it just wasn't, there were a large crowd that wanted the library on the SPOS for this purpose, but at the time, the overwhelming consensus was not right now. So,
Admin first.
yeah, I mean, that's the feeling I
That's
got.
one.
But I think there can be something else worked out. I don't know all the legalities. I'm not by any means saying I disagree with you.
Oh, yeah.
I would like for that money to be spent for the citizens who, receiving county services can get and access them a lot easier. You know, whether it be a White Pine building, whether it be wherever, I would like to see that money spent for administration.
I'd like to clarify, I think that money was as well to admin, okay? The way it's designed, it looks like they've got a catwalk or something to divide the buildings, but I think all that money from Splosh looks like it should be in an admin building. They shouldn't be dividing it back and forth, and I think probably Ms. Doss, you was looking at that maybe as well. I didn't know about, are you saying the money can be, as you're thinking, can
No,
be
what I
over
was-
with the library? Now, I've never heard that before. I
No,
heard,
maybe I didn't word it correctly, but the question was, could it go in a building that was otherwise done for
On the
admin?
property.
On the property.
Yes.
And as I understood Mr. Pennell, the answer is correct.
yeah, I've heard
As
that.
I have heard,
But as far as the funding goes, that funding would not be carried over from the
no,
SPOS to the
as I
library.
understand, no, as I understood the question, and I apologize, maybe Robert's rubbed off on all of it. And as I understood the proposal that when I've gone to the various meetings with the library board is that this portion of the building would be almost like a condominium
Yes.
concept. It's a
Yes.
separate building,
Right,
and it can be there under the same roof, but it would be paid for in part by this matching grant, and then the other monies would have to come out of some other general fund.
right. That was what I was getting at too, so I don't think that SPOS money is gonna go to the library, it's gonna go straight to the admin building. So I'm in agreement with that.
The whole cost of the library is the building.
Yeah, it's got it, yeah, only,
And SPOS bought that building,
right,
so in turn,
Well, see, that's just it. The whole cost of the library is not the building. I mean, partly what
so let's just say,
starts,
let's just say 80% of it is the building.
well,
From the
yeah.
square footage, I was told that they felt like they needed, which was what, 10,000 square feet?
13, please.
Oh, never mind. Let's just say it was 10. The average commercial building's around $400 a square foot, so 350 to 4, so there's 3.5, 4 million. as I've said before, they've got a lot more hurdles to. But I'm not opposed to, what I'm saying is that if they go in that building, they're wanting to go in that building instead in lieu of building a new building. So, actually the benefit, I mean, it's up to the board. Like I say, I'm about to be in entertainment road back there, so. But I just so everyone knows, I'll object to, unless there's some sort of deal worked out with the library to reimburse the county. It's just gonna be hard to, I think, place it in a building where it was very clearly set out to be an administration building.
Chairman Henson, you gonna chime in?
Yeah,
Okay,
actually, and I'm just gonna back up here just a little bit.
sure.
We'll go back a few years before we bought the White Pat building. So I'm just curious, and I'm not trying to open up a can of worms or pick a fight or anything like that. But did we have any other options? Were there any other options on the table for an admin building? Was this the only option that was presented to us? When we first started looking for a building, was there any other option available? I know the library, and I feel just by listening, that the library would love to have a standalone building. And if I misrepresent anybody that I've heard, I apologize up front. But I mean, just, you know, there's a lot of questions that I have, and we're still, you know, obviously I know why we put that on there to make it easier for the in and out for the folks, you know, elderly, seniors, things like that, to get in and out. But I was just curious. That's something that I've never heard was, hey, here's 3 options. And that's just a question is, did we have any other options before we bought that building? I mean, if by all practical purposes on the Sutton report, we'll revert back to that, it's gonna cost $6 million in their numbers, you know. Did we have any other options to build just a regular admin building, or for that price or less? You know, were there any other options available, or was this the only thing that was presented? Because that's all I heard, and I'm not trying to stir up a hornet's nest, but that's all I heard. It was mandated, and I heard that word more times than you can shake a stick at. But nowhere in any paperwork that I see where it was mandated that we buy that particular building.
Not to my knowledge.
So
No,
that,
I don't recall it's mandate. I mean,
I wouldn't say mandate either, but you've been here longer than I have. Not to my knowledge, there's not been another option. Have you
well,
heard
my
of
other
one?
option was on the highway across the radio tower. There was like 14 acres there that was bank owned. In my opinion, that would have been the greatest of all, just simply because it was 14 acres. You had room to grow. For future expansion. You know, there was 14 acres there, but I think at the time, I don't know if it was something with zoning or something that was an issue. I can't remember how it went, because it is in the city, of course. Got to be in the city. The expense of grading, I guess, scared others away, and, you know, developing the property. But see, to me, it just seemed like if you were just going to buy land, but I still think it was like $1 million undeveloped land. I think was the asking price. It was $1 million or $949.
It's just under $1 million, sorry.
So that was an option at one time?
Yes. And that was, I mean, that's what I, you know, thought was, you know, for future expansion. But no, White Path wasn't the only option. And you know, if the contention of a White Path, and there's people on both sides of it, but, you know, at this point right now, what the county paid for it, they could most certainly auction it, sell it, whatever. I mean, but when you do that, it's you have to replace it with something. And if you're going prices, I don't think you're gonna find the value like it's there, even if it's just the property.
Right, so it's worth more money now than it was when we bought it.
Yeah, I mean, I would venture to say so.
I would think so too.
But there were other options. It's just getting everybody to
Everybody look at the options.
Everybody would even entertain the option. So,
And
that's something I hope that the new administration, I hope everybody goes a different direction, kind of look all different sides. Me, just because I developed land and have developed land, see, to me, that was the best option. It was $1 million, but it was 14 acres.
Right.
It had access from a highway or from the city. It's kind of like where our fire station was.
Right.
You know, it took me, I actually found the fire station property. And it took months to do that, checking and seeing, and then, you know, when it was presented, how did they like it, how did they feel, you know, and actually it turned out very good. All the access points that they have, they can be on Highway 515, they can be in downtown, they can be out Windy Ridge. So that's all the things you've got to keep in mind, especially moving forward, because I mean, some people may disagree with what I'm about to say, but this courthouse, I mean, I think doing it over again, I mean, if I were involved with that board, it wouldn't have been right here, just because of our parking issue. So whatever decisions y'all make in the future, I hope, parking needs to be number one in whatever building it is. And, location, and of course, price. But there were several options, Mr. Chairman, it's just getting everybody to look at them.
so there were some options put out there, but this was the option that was lacking.
Hammered out.
Hammered out. Okay. All right. So
I think it was kind of a timing issue because when we got the admin building, then all of a sudden, and it was a little bit surprising, here came a grant. So we said, you know, how are we gonna handle this grant? You know, what's the time constraint? But I think going back to what Ms. Doss just said, and I do appreciate her looking into that, the key term is broadly defined. That's broadly defined, and, you know, we've got two buildings there. I mean, there's a separate key that's supposed to be with the library, and then another building, a separate key for the admin building, two separate buildings. I think that's what we're getting at, right, Ms. Doss?
You can certainly do that, and I believe in my understanding, and obviously, gentlemen, I don't have a vote, but my understanding from talking with the architect that came up and went through it a couple of times, that's what is envisioned. And so, to the extent that the library was put on the property that the county has already purchased with capital outlay money, but there's nothing that says that exists, and I totally agree with Commissioner Johnson. There was a reason that the wording was worded the way it was on the SPOS ballot.
Right.
You wording on a SPOS ballot so that citizens approve the projects, and citizens demonstrate their approval of the projects by voting for it. And there are some citizens, like it or not, that do not see the value in a $8 million library. And
We keep going up. It was 5, 6, 8.
well, it's $5 million,
I know.
but I mean, I always said $5 million, but the folks with the library told me I was underestimating it because there's all these soft costs that has to go into it to do things a certain way, which I'm not a librarian, and I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn last night, and I don't play one on TV, but it seems to me in the digital world that we find ourselves seems to be maybe not needed, but I'm not a librarian and I don't do library science.
any other discussion on the Wild building?
We had two issues, that's one. Let's talk about the other one just real quick. The other one was about our drilling, okay? Can you give us an update on that, Chairman? I know
Yep.
we've looked and looked and looked and not had too much luck, is that correct?
No, we've actually, Ms. Walker has reached out to, what was the gentleman's name?
Yeah, Hayes James.
Hey, James. He's actually going to try to give us an estimate tomorrow. We have actually reached back out to Contours to, I know they had two different two different bids here, you know, depending on the scope of the work.
Three. Well, two bids as
Two
far
bids,
as, yeah,
yeah.
two bids was together, but three prices.
Okay.
Three prices.
So, what we're actually trying to do is reach back out to them to
Negotiate.
negotiate, well, to reduce the scope, as we talked about, you know, at one point in time, not having to drill in the parking lot, possibly. And the other part would be, you know, just doing the regular soil test, checking for mold, mildew, the obvious, and then also the asbestos. So we were gonna see if we could just have them reduce the scope of their testing and then reprice it again. So,
They haven't gotten back with you yet?
haven't gotten back with us yet.
And that was the one that we had in the proposal, and the one that the School Board of Education,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
With their building program.
So those, it is in the works, and as a wise politician once told me, nothing happens fast in politics.
Government.
And that, in government, that's it. And, I'm seeing that, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm used to trying to get everything done as fast and quick as I possibly can, and it's a little bit aggravating, but it is what it is. So, that's where we stand on that part of it.
Have you spoken lately to the Georgia Director of Libraries, Nate Rawl?
I have not.
Told him the situation, I mean,
I have not, but he is aware, and I remember a conversation we had back November or December, prior to us taking office, was that he would be more than willing to work with us. And I do believe there was the initial was 3 to 4 months, and if we needed an extended time, he would be more than willing to sit back down and talk with us again.
now you mentioned to reduce and not do drilling in the parking lot,
Mhm.
and the reason,
Well, the reason why, according to the reports, while we were drilling was to see if there were any large rocks
hard rock,
that,
sediment.
yeah, that we would need to move. And looking at the building, obviously it's down below the parking lot, so, you know, it looked to me like that was more fill coming back in there, and then they paved over that. I don't know what your thoughts on that, you're in the paper business, so I'm not sure, but, you know, obviously I don't think there's any rocks in that area that, and again, if I'm wrong, I'll come out and be the first one to tell you, but I don't think there's any rocks in that particular area that we would have to worry about drilling to see to find out. So that would be a savings to the county as well in that sense.
Right.
So I just believe in getting the best deal we possibly can. As we know, it's going to be an expenditure to all of us, and I just believe in getting the best deal we can moving forward. If this is in fact what we're going to do, so I just want to be as frugal as we possibly can
Right.
with the county's money.
Right,
So
okay.
It'll probably be about like the fire station, like we didn't do any drilling there, we knew it was rock, 2 foot down, the grade of the building, it was rock, but it was diggable rock, so, and I think it was, how tall do you think that cut is, 65, 70 feet?
Probably something like that, yeah.
And it was, I mean, it was rock all the way down, but it's just Boy Ridge rock, and rocks everywhere. The good thing is we don't have any granite veins around here, so it's, and granite's usually what, you know, puts the screws to you when you hit it, you know, but in Blue Ridge, there's not a whole lot of it, so. I would venture to say in that area, there would be very minimal to none. But if it is rock, it'll be the same type of rock that was at the firehouse. And actually, the rock saved us money there because we didn't have to build the wall that we were anticipating on having to build because the rock was so stable. You know, it's basically a natural rock wall now. So it kind of worked out good. I think it saved like $200,000 not having to pour that wall to retain it. So anyway, I believe it'll be fine.
that was a good statement.
All right, so we in a holding pattern for
We're
now.
gonna hold the pattern until we get the bids back.
All right, that's all I've got.
So number 7, discussion of the 2020 budgets. And so how this is on the agenda today, and it's not I feel it's a budget amendment, and if I'm wrong, please let me know, Ms. Dawson, Ms. Walker. Back in 2020, this actually has to do with the CARES Act fund money. It was brought to my attention prior to just after the last meeting, I should say. There was a couple of department heads and other elected officials had shown me their budgets, and one in particular, it reflected that this person was 175% over budget. And of course, we sat down and was wondering, how in the world can this be? We'll come to find out, these, and again, I just don't know how to say it except just throw it out there. That's how it is. These were supposed to be, it was supposed to be refunded to them for upgrades or product they bought as a result of COVID. And unbeknownst to the commissioners, to each side of me, I can honestly say they really didn't know, because this is something that we just found out. I'd asked the department heads if who they had dealt with, and they told me 100%. So the reason I bring this up is to ask that we actually, in essence, refund their money to reflect. That way their budget can reflect what it actually should be instead of the overage that it currently states. And what I did as I went back on their budgets, and I think I have 3 here tonight. There's a couple more as well, and we have all the receipts. That's one thing that we did get. So the numbers that we have reflect the receipts, and those receipts were, in fact, as a result of COVID. So they just were never reimbursed. So that discussion is open now if anybody wants to talk about that.
So we plan on reimbursing them?
I feel it's the right thing to do.
What's the amount? Total?
Well, it's broken
Is it
up.
24?
Oh, that's for one office.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
can I just clarify something on that?
Sure.
We're not really putting money back into their budget. It's all in one pot, like in the general fund. It's just gonna be a reflection on the actual budget line item number. So, just so y'all understand that.
For 2020?
Yes, for
2020.
2020.
Right. So they won't be putting it back in, that's what I was getting at.
Right, yeah, it's not like money transferred in and out, just so.
It won't look real bad. I think you gave me an example, like one, when we mentioned the department, but
Right.
was like 150% in the hole,
Right,
in the red.
yeah, just on one line item. That would be like a certain office expense
Right.
or something.
And they just
of that
wanted to
nature.
correct
It's a
that
coding.
for the
yeah.
record.
Mhm.
And for the audit, and it's also a 100% legitimate use of COVID designated funds that we've already received.
Right.
So we're literally, what we're doing, if I understand it, is that we're taking monies that have been allocated to us and putting them where they should correctly be allocated. In this case, to buy equipment that had to be purchased from some source. And fortunately, we have COVID money that can be allocated to do this, so it won't appear that somebody's way out of budget.
Right. Makes sense.
We're basically spending the money for what we applied for, and it was allocated for. We're spending the money, instead of drawing it out of their budget, which I don't know whoever agreed to do that. I mean, I know I spoke with one of these people, and I don't know where the idea came up from that, to make the, general fund look better. And then all these, we applied for that to receive COVID funding to do all these things. And all we're doing is using the money for what it was intended for, not to beef up a general fund account. We're just, I have no idea why or how it happened. Because several of these items, I think, Ms. Chastain even came up here and presented, building her wall to us, and I'm pretty sure we all agree that that's exactly what the COVID money for the CARES Act was intended for. So how it got taken out of her budget and not appropriated, what do we call it, the CARES Fund?
Yeah, CARES Act.
CARES Act fund.
CARES
How
Act.
that happened, I have no idea. At this point, it really doesn't matter. But I think all of the budgets, in my opinion, need to be made whole for expenditures that were caused by COVID, because we got federal funds to do so.
Right. That's what it's supposed to be used for.
And just to be upfront, we did reach out to the department heads, and we do have others that are getting the receipts for us as well. So that's what I wanted to do, was create a file for each department to make sure that we have the receipts that tied in with everything as far as everything. So that is what we're doing.
And
So-
those really shouldn't be anything astronomical amounts or anything of that nature, just things like plexiglass and things they've used in their offices, so.
And legally, I'm not the bank person, but legally we should, for historic purposes, and in case we were ever audited, have a file that would say, we got X number of dollars for CARES Act money. We used X number of dollars to pay salary. We used X number of dollars to build protective petitions or partitions in the clerk's office and these other offices. We used X number of dollars to buy equipment that allowed our court system to continue going forward. To allow our magistrate to have remote services so people didn't stay in jail one day longer, because every day that anybody's in jail is on mining your taxpayer dollar.
Well, I think if we reflect back to the minutes of those meetings, it was made very clear, because I know my point of view was what strings were going to be attached and how they were going to be attached. And I think it would be foolish not to have expenditures when we receive that much money that were related to COVID-19. So why it was done this way, I have no idea. Hopefully, everyone will get it fixed, because it's, I have no idea why this was done. So I don't think the federal government gave us that money so our general fund account would rise. I don't think.
Like I say, I'm not your finance person, but what I don't understand is, like, when we get SPLOST money goes into a SPLOST account, and then a certain percentage of that goes into public works, and a certain percentage goes into safety and water and to the cities. Why we didn't have a CARES Act fund? Because the bank will open you as many accounts as you put money in. But in any event, this is a great way to get it all neatly organized for accountability purposes going forward.
So with the three that we have here now, is this something we need to, we would make a motion? Is that
I
something we
personally
need
would
to-
love it if you would do that, because then your records are reflective of what actions is being taken going forward.
And again, it's just because I don't know, but do we need to do each individual?
No, I think you can make a motion, sir, that would be as simple as that expenditures that are legitimate CARES Act expenditures shall be appropriately coded. Now, if it's over a certain limit, that's up to your board. Do you want to have individual votes on them? Because you do have you do have a spending limit on the chairman. And I realize this money's been spent, but you're reallocating it back.
Well, let me ask y'all a question. If we make a motion to do it all at once, do y'all have a problem with,
that, 'cause
And there is a spending limit, obviously.
the safest thing for you as chairman, if I were you, I'd get all my receipts together by the next meeting, get all the expenditures that, the safest bet for you is,
Get it all
you get it
together.
all together, present it, vote on it, all at
All
once,
together.
be done. That way there's not another one trickling in, and like give your department heads notice that by whatever week after next.
Right,
So that's
right.
what we'll do.
That could happen.
Thank you.
So then you just table today.
We'll table it today until the next meeting and give the others an opportunity to get everything turned in. Fantastic. Thank you. Any other questions or discussion on that?
Just to be clear, so we're taking this money out of the CARES Act, right?
Yes.
All right.
That's what it was designed to do
Right.
anyway, so,
Yeah.
okay. All right, moving forward. This is the part you've all been waiting for, public commentary. Anybody wants to speak, please raise your hand, come up, say your name and where you live at. You have 5 minutes.
You scared them all off.
Ms. Holt.
Thank you. I just wanted to come up here and say thank you. I wanted to thank Mr. Johnson for taking over for the 3 months and for the way that you did it. Very classy. And I just wanted to personally say thank you. I wanted to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for reaching out to me to clarify some issues. Perception is everything, and when there's no communication, things look a certain way, and so that was what I was going on some of my Facebook posts, was on the way things looked to me. And you reached out to me and clarified things, and that's just not something this county is used to. So I did thank you on my Facebook page, but I also wanted to publicly come up and thank you for reaching out and for caring enough that to clarify things and to start a dialogue. I really appreciate it. I also wanted to thank you because the hours of animal control have been extended. Haven't read anything in a paper about it, haven't read anything out there that is going to toot your horn, so I'm going to toot it for you. The fact that animal control is open to volunteers for a full day, Monday through Saturday, instead of just a couple of hours in the morning, is fabulous, and I thank you for that. I do know that changes go in steps. You can't do everything all at one time. Nobody expects you to. I do hope that you keep it in the back of your mind that we also pay animal control full-time on Sunday, and we do pay them for 8 hours on holidays, and those are days that they are closed to the volunteers to come in and help to take care of the animals. Hopefully in the future, I would like to see, and I'm sure most volunteers would like to see, that animal control is open to those dog walkers 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, or even 6 hours a day if it's just too much on the workers. But I do thank you for the steps that you've taken forward on behalf of animal lovers all over Fannin County. It's very appreciated. White Path. We all know that the White Path, well, let me back up. We all know that the library has been a very controversial subject. The courthouse took over the freestanding library and promised the library that they would have a new freestanding library many, many years ago. It never happened. I do know that part of Fannin County feels that libraries are obsolete. There are a lot of citizens who don't feel that way. But the White Path building itself is very controversial. And it just seems like anytime there's any discussion, there's really nothing concrete that comes out of it. We don't know what the plan is for the administration side of it. We don't know where the money's gonna come from for the administration side of it. The library, that's so up in the air, I understand that. I thank you for at least having an open discussion, but I am imploring you to please, please come up with some plans. Let us know, let the taxpayers know exactly in what direction you guys see that this is gonna go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? No one else? We'll close public commentary. Thank you. Next item will be executive session. I do have an item. We have just a couple minutes. I think we need to go into, so I'll make a motion. We go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor? We make a motion to come out of executive session. I make a motion that we come out of executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Nobody opposed? So we went into executive session to discuss personnel, and at this time, there's been no changes. So that being said, I'll ask for a motion that we adjourn.
Make a motion.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?